Hi everyone, my name is Deanna and welcome to my channel about stories that happen in life. Sit back, pour yourself a hot drink. I think this is going to be very interesting. Well, before we start, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a lot of new and useful videos. Nadia ran without feeling her legs. She was only afraid that her husband, this beast, would catch up with her and the same thing would happen again. Abuse, humiliation, beatings. So she ran, not understanding where and why. The main thing was to get away from him. How she managed to do it, she still could not understand. Oleg came home, but the door for some reason was left unlocked. What is it with him? Is he losing his touch, or was so drunk that he forgot what he never allowed? He was always afraid of this, that he would miss his victim, his wife, who believed, loved, and trusted him with her life. Oleg, don't hit me. I'll do everything you want. These words Nadia repeated most often, and he only smiled indulgently. Of course you will. You love me. He was 100% sure of himself. He felt his superiority over her and his power. That night Oleg came in very drunk, already from the doorstep angry. Where are you? Are you my wife or not? Nadia lay in bed, but did not sleep. She knew that if her husband wasn't home, she couldn't sleep. He could hit her when she was asleep, just for no reason, just because he wanted to. His voice made Nadia squeeze into the bed, afraid to move. She knew that no miracle would happen and he would get his way. Yes, he would. Her by force, and then he would beat her. He knew his wife wouldn't go anywhere because it would be worse. And where would she go if he didn't let her out? When he went to work, he locked the door several times. She has no family. She's from the orphanage. He's kept her friends away. My love, I'm here. If his voice was heard by an outsider, he wouldn't believe that this man, who uttered such tender words, could hit or rape. For 2 years, Nadia has not lived but simply existed. She didn't even look for a way out anymore. She took it for granted. Until today. Today Nadia finds out she's pregnant. And now she has to save not only herself, but also the little person still inside her. Even though this child was his, Nadia already loved him and could not allow what could happen in Oleg's outburst of aggression. She didn't know what to do, but fate and lucky chance itself intervened. Without waiting for his wife to come out of the bedroom, Oleg came into her himself. The look was affectionate, but Nadia knew that it means nothing at all, and it was all deceptive. He came to the bed and tore it off his wife in one sharp movement and threw her to the floor. Darling, what are you doing? I'm calling you, but you don't hear me. The voice was so kind that Nadia felt sick. The husband always talked like that when he wanted to make fun of his wife. Oleg grabbed Nadia's arm and yanked her off the bed, and just like that he threw the blanket aside. Nadia hit the door jamb. It hurt terribly, but even more painful was the realization of her helplessness. I'm sorry, darling. Oleg grinned. You hurt. Come to me, I'll caress and pity you. Nadia was silent, looked straight into Oleg's eyes and thought. At such moments, she often wanted to go to the window and but something kept her still in this world. And now she realized that, her baby, even if it was from this beast, but it was hers too. And now she must be 10 times stronger. She must save herself, run, hit him, push him away with all her might. Her baby, he's already feeling everything, so he mustn't grow up to be like his father. If she runs away, hide so he won't find her, Nadia will raise him right, in love and care. Nadia stood near the door, Oleg moving toward her. A second and a huge vase that stood on the dresser came down on her husband's head. He was strong and so easy to knock him down. It did. Then Nadia hit him with whatever she could get her hands on. She couldn't afford it before, she was too scared, but now she had someone to fight for. She was an orphanage girl, and it seemed like she should be strong, but it turned out to be the opposite. From there, she came out even more frightened and unfit for life, and having met her husband at first, She was glad that she had a man who would save and help her, and she fell into the clutches of the beast. Some blow knocked Oleg out of action, and he fell silent, lying on the floor. Nadia ran to the closet, changed clothes in seconds, and took the documents. All of this she had prepared in advance. The plan had been worked out as soon as she guessed she was pregnant. The test was an old one, bought at the beginning of their married life, but it showed 2 stripes. Nadia believed it, and she felt good about herself. By the front door, behind the shelving unit, there was a large hammer. The first time she hit the door, she didn't have to do anything else. The door was open. The door swung open, but Nadia was in a stupor. She couldn't believe it had been so easy. It began to dawn on her that she had to run. Taking everything she needed, she ran out of the apartment. When she reached the next floor, she stopped and listened. It was quiet, and no one ran after her. At that moment, Nadia did not think she could simply kill her husband by smashing his head. There she is on the street, she sighed. It had been so long since she'd been here. If she went out, it was only with Oleg. She was forbidden to go out alone. And now only forward, without looking back. She had money with her, so when the bus came, she got on and didn't even look where it was going. She didn't care, as long as it was far away from here. Nadia rode for a long time. She didn't look out the window. It was only when the driver called out to her that she looked around. "Girl, it's the end of the line. Get off." "Yes, of course. Excuse me." And Nadia went to the door. Nadia didn't understand where she was. She walked at random. Soon she saw a small store in front of her. Judging by the fact that it was bright, it was open despite the late hour, so it was a 24-hour store. Nadia went inside. There was no one in the store, only a bored saleswoman. "Hello, could you tell me if anyone rents a room nearby? It's just for a couple of days." "I don't know. Let me think about it." And the woman thought for a while. Nadia waited patiently. She had no other choice. "You know, recently a grandmother hung an ad on the store, but now it's gone. Either someone tore it down, or it's no longer relevant." The woman looked at Nadia with a sympathetic look. "What? Nowhere to go at all? Visiting?" "Yes, she is." Nadia didn't say anything about her situation. Come to think of it, she was a commuter, and she had no one here. There was no one else. She wished she could forget everything that had happened. The woman looked closely at Nadia. "What's that you've got there?" She pointed at her eyebrow with her hand. "Who did that to you?" Nadia had completely forgotten that perhaps after her husband's last blow, when she had banged on the door jamb, she had a scar. "Oh, that's right. I was getting off the bus, tripped, and hit the handrail." The woman came closer to Nadia, looked at her carefully, and smiled good-naturedly. She looked a little older than she was. "Well, let's at least get acquainted. I'm Marina, and my name is Nadia. Come, sit here." Marina pointed to a chair behind the counter. "Now I'll treat your wound, and you tell me how you got here at night." Nadia sat down on the chair. She was not going to tell anything, especially to a stranger. There was no telling how this Marina would act after her revelations, and there was no desire to share her misfortune. Marina treated Nadia's wound and silently continued to look at her. "I understand." She interrupted the silence. "You will not tell anything." "Okay, your business. And since you have nowhere to go, let's go at least to my place. Lie here behind the curtain." Marina showed Nadia standing near the counter cot, pushing the curtain aside. "This is so that you can lie down at night when there are no customers. Lie down, rest. We'll figure something out in the morning." "Oh, I don't even feel comfortable. I'll lie down, but what about you?" "It's uncomfortable to be out at night." "Lie down, I told you," strictly pronounced Marina, and then turned to Nadia, remembering. "Yes, and that's you. I do not like when I poke myself." "Okay." Marina, hearing that a customer had entered, quickly pulled the curtain. Nadia first sat down on the cot and then lay down. Her legs were buzzing. While she had been talking to Marina, she hadn't thought about anything. Now, alone with her thoughts, the events of the last few hours came back to her. She replayed every minute of tonight, and when she got to the moment when Oleg was lying motionless on the floor, she suddenly realized that she could have killed him. Nadia sat down and thought, after all, it could well be, and what to do now? Not go back to the house to make sure that her husband is alive. She lay down again, but despite her tiredness and the time of night, sleep did not come to her. Besides, she was still uncomfortable in front of Marina. Can't sleep? Marina's voice brought her out of her troubled thoughts. I'm sorry, I do not sleep and you do not let me rest. Marina came to Nadia and sat on the edge of the cot. You know about me, do not think. I immediately sense that you have serious problems. And the bump on your head is not from the blow on the bus. If you don't want to talk, don't. That's your business. My sister used to have bumps like yours. She used to talk about the doors and the jams, and she would have kept on telling until it came to Arishka's daughter. That's when my sister came to her senses and got scared. Good thing we have an older brother with her. Quickly this joint soaked his neck. He thought there was no one to stand up for Svetka, but no, he didn't. Borka quickly put his brains back in place. Did she stay with him? Who? Marina thought about it, so did not immediately realize who is now asking Nadia. Your sister. Borka threw him down the stairs by the scruff of his neck and sent his things after him to catch up with him. Borka told Svetka not to see this handsome guy in the apartment again. She inherited the apartment from our grandmother, so he has nothing to do with her. Well, I'll go, I'm talking to you. Marina straightened up, standing up. And you rest. No one will find you here. Maren, you do not. Don't go, asked Nadia. Sit down, please. You're right. I ran away from my husband. And he's the one who. Nadia touched her sore eyebrow, and she dared to tell about her life. First about the hard life in the orphanage, and then about the marriage with the beast. Marina listened to Nadia silently, not once interrupted. She understood how important it is for her to talk out now, and was afraid to stare until Nadia still decided to revelations. What a bastard, Marina said in her heart, having listened to the end of Nadia's story. I would strangle him with my own hands now. It was obvious that Marina was not joking, that she understood Nadia now more than anyone else. She was bigger than Nadia. Yes, and life in four walls, as in prison, did not make her braver. Oleg all these 2 years indoctrinated her that she is nothing, nothing of herself a chicken, and she believed him, scared and believed. So you're pregnant now, good for you. I hope you're keeping the baby. Yes, of course I am. I just have to make an appointment with the doctor to make sure the baby's okay. But I'm afraid to go to the clinic. He'll find me right away. Oleg has people everywhere. Don't worry about that, calmed her Marina. I have a doctor I know. He'll take a look at you. Really? Everything will be fine. Maren, you were talking about some grandmother who rents out a room. Forget about her. What are you going to rent a place for? I'll get a job. She'll get a job? Marina grinned. You just told me that your husband has people everywhere, and you think that if you go to work, he will not find you out. So what do we do? Nadia realized that Marina was right. She hadn't even thought about it. So, let me think about it. Marina thought about something. You can live with me and Borka for now. We'll figure out something about work later. No, it's not right. I can't do that, Nadia protested. I don't want to embarrass you. You won't embarrass anyone. Borka is often away from home. He's always traveling. He works on a rotational basis. He's not home right now. And you see how I work, 24 hours a day. And sometimes I have to fill in for my partner. She has a small child. She's always on sick leave. I have no children, no family, sadly pronounced Marina. The bright light from the headlights of the car, illuminating the windows of the store, prevented them from developing this topic. Marina quickly adjusted the curtain, closing it behind Nadia, and stood at the counter. A moment later, Nadia heard a man's voice that made her startled. Her heart hammered so loudly that she thought she could hear it pounding. Young lady, I apologize for disturbing you. I'm looking for my wife. She's seriously ill. She's in trouble with her head. She left home and I'm on my feet. I don't know where I can find her. Maybe you've seen her." Nadia realized that Oleg must be showing Marina her photo and froze, trying not to breathe. She was sure that Marina would not give her away. "Yes, I saw her." Nadia couldn't believe what she was hearing. Was Marina going to turn her in now? For a moment, she thought she stopped breathing. She was so scared. And the next words of Marina and Oleg came to her as if from far away. "Did she go into the store? When was that?" Oleg clung to Marina's words. "Yes, she came in here," deliberately slowly answered the girl. "It was about 2 hours ago." "Yes?" Oleg asked with annoyance. He hoped that his wife had been here quite recently, and he would quickly be able to find her on hot tracks. "And where did she go? Did you happen to notice in which direction she was heading?" "Honestly, no. I didn't know I had to watch her. I'm sorry I couldn't help you," Marina replied with exaggerated sadness. "Although at that moment, the bus to M Village was just leaving. I guess she was in a hurry to catch it." "Yes, that's right, I remember. Your wife bought." "No, I don't remember what she bought." "It's not that important, is it? Isn't it?" She handed over the money and kept looking out the window. And just then the bus came and she ran out. "Are you sure about that?" Oleg doubted that his wife could have gone to some unknown village. "You do not confuse anything." "I'm not sure, but I thought so. Excuse me." "Thank you. I'll check it out." She may have had another serious headache and got on an unfamiliar bus. "I hope I can find her in time and that she's okay. Otherwise, I'll never forgive myself for this. Thanks again for your help." "You're welcome." Marina wanted to add something else. Something to add that everything will be fine. He will definitely find her. But Oleg left the store as quickly as he appeared. Marina waited until the man's car drove away from the store at a sufficient distance, and only then through the curtain said, "How are you?" "I don't know yet. I feel like I died of fear, and I don't know if I'm alive." "You say, then alive." Marina approached Nadia, but did not open it yet. "I hope that he believed me and will not come back here," said Marina, and then looked slyly at Nadia and said, "If I had not heard such a terrible story about your husband, I would never have thought that he is capable of such acts." "You don't believe me?" Nadia felt hurt. "I believe you. Do not even doubt," calmed her Marina. "My sister had the same one. Softly laid, in this they are alike. You never know what they have in mind until you feel on your skin. You go get some sleep. It'll be morning soon. You need to rest in your condition." "I don't think I'll be able to sleep now." "What if he's around?" "I don't think so. What's he doing here?" Lie down, lie down. Sleep for 2 hours, then we'll go home. The shift attendant will come, and I'm free." "What about you?" "I'll lie down. Where will you be?" Nadia was still uncomfortable taking someone else's place. "Don't worry about me. I'm used to staying up at night. You think about yourself and the baby, and I'll sleep at home." And Marina closed the curtain and left Nadia alone. Nadia thought that she would not be able to sleep after the fear, but on the contrary, quickly fell into a dream and woke up only when Marina began to wake her up. "Nadia, get up. Your partner will be here soon. She must not see you." Nadia, after these words, quickly got up from the cot and wanted to run to the exit, but Marina stopped her. "Where are you going? Crazy? Don't hurry. You can't shine. Go out the other entrance and wait for me there. I'll be right there. Just don't go anywhere." Marina took Nadia out the back door and went back into the store. As soon as she was changed, she hurried after Nadia. She was waiting for her, and she looked around warily. They walked gingerly to the bus stop, afraid of running into Oleg. They saw nothing and no one suspicious, and when they reached the right stop, they got off the bus. Only after entering the apartment Marina and Nadia calmly exhaled. They took turns to shower, had breakfast, and Marina showed her guests the room where she could settle down. Both went to bed immediately after such a hard and nervous night. For a whole week, Nadia stayed with Marina. They became very good friends in such a short time. On the first weekend, Nadia was reminded about the doctor, and Marina immediately called him and made an appointment. The doctor examined Nadia and said that there was a pregnancy, already 5 weeks, and that all the same, it was necessary to register, to take tests, to make an ultrasound, and only then you can understand how it goes. Marina warned her acquaintance that this examination was unofficial. Nadia could not just live quietly in someone else's apartment and constantly thought about work. "Well, what kind of job will you find now?" Marina constantly asked her. "In a day your husband will already know where you are, and then he will do everything to make sure that you never run away from him again." "But I can't do that. It's not right. I cannot sit on your neck. And when I have a baby, what will I live on? I need to get a job, at least for a while, so that when the baby comes, we'll have everything we need." "I get it. I can't change your mind. I'm going to work now, and tomorrow we'll talk." All morning, afternoon, and evening, Nadia pondered where she could work for a few months until her belly was visible, but she came up with nothing. Tonight was the 4th night she'd had to stay in someone else's apartment alone. Marina had left for 24 hours and would not return until tomorrow morning. Nadia woke up in the middle of the night. The room was stuffy, and she wanted a drink of water. She went out into the corridor, and as she passed the front door before she reached the kitchen, she heard the key turn in the keyhole. She froze, her legs not moving even to hide. "That's it. He's found me." Nadia realized that whoever was opening the door was about to enter the apartment and run right into her. That it was her husband, she didn't even doubt it. Nadia felt as if pushed by an invisible hand, and she ran and hid in the living room behind the open door. If it wasn't closed, Nadia wouldn't be seen. Again, she stood neither alive nor dead, as on that day in the store, when she had just escaped from Oleg. It was different now. There he did not know that Nadia was behind the counter. Here, on the contrary, he was sure that his wife was at home with a friend. If Oleg came at night, not afraid of anyone, he is sure that Nadia is alone. The door rattled open, and the light came on at once. How brave! Not afraid that the neighbors might call the police. But what neighbors? Nowadays they kidnap, beat, and rape in front of witnesses, and nobody cares. They walk by and don't even look back. No one will dare to leave their apartment, so no one will help her. Something fell on the floor. It wasn't loud, but it was heavy, like something heavy. That's weird. It was heard as he headed for the bathroom. Water was pouring out. Nadia did not understand what was happening now. Maybe Marina had come home from work. Her husband didn't come in and go straight to the bathroom, closing the door behind him. Nadia looked out of the door and saw what had made the sound of the fall. It was a huge backpack. Oleg had never had such a thing. Nadia moved closer to it, glancing warily at the bathroom door. Suddenly the door opened and she flinched. A stranger stood in front of her, almost naked except for the towel on his hips, which was about to fall to the floor. The man also froze, covering what was still closed, but was about to become open at any moment. "Who are you? And what are you doing here?" The man was the first to come to his senses. "I'm Nadia." "Okay, you're Nadia. But what are you doing in this apartment? Where did you come from?" "I was invited here." "Wait, who are you?" "Who am I? I'm the owner. I live here." "The landlord?" "What master? I don't understand anything." Nadia didn't know what to think. Then she remembered what Marina told her about her brother. So maybe it's him. "You must be Boris, Marina's brother." "Yes, I'm Boris, Marina's brother." "So I don't get it. Who are you to my sister?" "We're about to find out." And he picked up the phone and dialed his sister's number. He knew she had to be at work if she wasn't home. "Hi, sis. Can you please tell me who's the young lady at home?" "Borechka, hi. Are you back already?" "Damn, you must have scared Nadia. I forgot to warn you both. I didn't think you'd be here soon." "So what about the girl?" Boris asked impatiently. "Boris, Nadia has nowhere to go. Don't hurt her there. I'll tell you everything when I'm home." You can sleep in my room tonight. I just offered your room while you were away. Okay, I got you. I'll see you later. Boris disconnected and looked carefully at Nadia. I apologize if I startled you. I didn't realize we had company. No, I'm sorry. I just barged into your house like a snowflake. Plus, I took your bedroom. I'm gonna change the linens. And I'm gonna sleep here in the living room if that's okay. No, I don't mind. Boris looked at Nadia sternly. I'll lie here, and you go to your room. Good night. Good night. Nadia decided not to argue with him and simply went into the bedroom. Only there she took a breath and went to bed. True remembered that she never drank water, but did not dare to go out again, especially to go to the kitchen. Now it was necessary to pass Boris. In the morning, Nadia woke up and immediately heard voices in the living room. Soft ones, and yet it was a conversation between two people. She went out and saw Marina and Boris sitting on the sofa. Boris got up from the sofa at the sight of Nadia. Good morning. We must have woken you up. Boris's voice was not as serious today as it had been the night before. Marina had already told him about her. No, I heard your voices after I woke up. So I'm going to shower and sleep, said Marina. Today's night was a troubled night. All night was not allowed to sit down, not even to lie down, so I will not even go to breakfast with you. Marina went to the bathroom, and Boris and Nadia were left alone. Well, Nadezhda, shall we go? Boris gestured toward the kitchen. Yes, I'll make breakfast now. No, today I'm cooking, and you rest. Boris smiled. Good. Nadia sat down at the table and furtively, when Boris stood with his back to her, watched him. It was so unusual for her to see a man managing the kitchen. Oleg would never even make his tea, let alone cook a meal. She admired the action and didn't even immediately look away when Boris turned in her direction. Here we go, scrambled eggs and bacon. You won't refuse it, will you, or do you prefer something else? I'd love to keep you company. Boris put everything on plates, sat down at the table opposite Nadia, and looked her in the eye. First of all, have a pleasant appetite. Likewise. And secondly, I suggest we switch to you. After all, if we eat at the same table as you, moreover, cooked my eggs, we can already go to you. I agree. Nadia raised her eyes to Boris and immediately lowered them in embarrassment. The table was small, and they were sitting very close together. Nadia had known only one man in her entire life, Oleg. Now she was sitting in front of a young handsome guy who was a stranger, but not at all like her husband, and it was very uncomfortable to be in the same room with him at arm's length. Nadia felt her cheeks burning. She wanted to get up and run away from the table. Nadia looked up at Boris and noticed that he was sitting as awkwardly as she was. Then she jumped up from her chair, picked up the empty plates, and went to the sink. I'll do the dishes. Thank you, Boris. It was delicious. Marina and Boris accepted Nadia into the family as their sister. But for Marina, she became another sister, but not for her brother. Boris liked Nadia, but he did not show that she meant much more to him. He didn't go to work on a rotational basis anymore. He stayed at home and found a job in his town. Nadia started looking for something for herself. You said to yourself that you didn't study anywhere after the orphanage. What's it like now? Everywhere, they ask about education and experience, and you have neither. What am I supposed to do now? Nadia panicked. I suggest taking a computer course. Boris suggested. You'll learn, and then you can work. The courses are paid anyway, and I have nothing to pay. And it'll take a long time. I need a job now. Nadia realized that she needed to study, but not in her current case. She cannot always sit on the neck of her friends. She's already living off them. I'll pay for the course. Boris said, this is my gift to you, and from the first paycheck, you'll pay me back. Nadia looked at Boris, thinking he was joking, but his face was serious, and he, seeing her confusion, still could not contain himself and laughed. I was joking, he said as soon as he had laughed. Only about the prostration, and you will go to the course. And don't argue. Nadia did not argue with him, and soon she began to study, and she liked it. Whenever possible, Boris met Nadia. She hardly remembered Oleg anymore, as if he had never been in her life. True, there was a big reminder of him left. Her stomach had begun to grow and was already visible. Lately, Nadia had become uncomfortable. It seemed to her that someone was watching her all the time. One evening, she shared this with Marina and Boris. From that day on, Boris tried not to let Nadia go alone. "Nadia, don't you want to file for divorce?" Marina once asked. "Why would you want to live in a marriage when there's no marriage as such anymore?" "I thought about it," Nadia admitted, "but I'm afraid. To do that, I'd have to meet Oleg, and I can't even imagine how I'd see him. Besides, he'll realize that I'm pregnant. Even if I wear the widest dress, he won't be fooled. You can't hide the 6th month with anything." "Yes, you're right. If it's like you said, he won't just let you go." "What if we say that this baby is not his?" Boris suggested. "Whose is it?" "Oleg knows that's impossible," said Nadia. "For example, mine." And Nadia and Marina looked at Boris in surprise. "Why are you looking at me like that? Which of us has a familiar doctor?" Boris looked seriously at his sister. "I do, and so what?" "So what? He can help us for a small fee, and instead of the real term of pregnancy, write a certificate with the lowest term. Especially since the size of your belly allows it. You have a small belly. And then your husband will realize that the child is not his." "Why would he want a wife with someone else's baby?" "I don't know," Nadia said uncertainly. I'm afraid. What if it doesn't work out? Still, it's worth a try." Ivan Morozov was an excellent specialist in his field. Recently, he began to manage the pregnancy of his new patient Nadezhda Stepanova. The girl who brought Nadezhda to him, Marina, was the daughter of his mother's friend. When Marina had come to her first informal appointment with Nadezhda, he hadn't been too surprised. Little wonder what reason she had for hiding the pregnancy so far. But when they came to him with a request to forge a certificate with a due date, he wondered why and for what purpose they needed it. Ivan Grigorievich never participated in any machinations and immediately wanted to refuse both of them, despite their long-standing friendship. Then Marina told the whole truth about Nadia's life and why they needed this certificate. At his own risk, Ivan Grigorievich agreed to help. At the same time, he refused any remuneration. 2 days later, Nadia and her friends went to court and filed for divorce. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. "Let's sit on the bench for a while, shall we?" Boris met Nadia from the course as usual, and she wanted some fresh air. Sure, come on. He liked Nadia more and more every day. Boris had never met anyone like her in his life. Despite her hard fate, Nadia was kind, and the best. A slight breeze blew and ruffled Nadia's bangs. Boris touched her face, trying to fix her hair, and couldn't resist kissing her. Nadezhda was surprised that she didn't want to push the guy away at all. On the contrary, she wanted to keep the kiss going. But for some reason at that moment, she again had the feeling that someone was watching her. "Boris, let's go home." Nadia stood up, followed by Boris. Feeling a little awkward, they walked home in silence. When they got home, both Nadia and Boris went to different rooms. Marina had gone on the night shift, so it was just the two of them. Then they went to bed in silence without saying a word to each other. In the morning, Nadia did not want to leave the bedroom for a long time. A small awkwardness had turned into a big one overnight. The doorbell rang. Once, twice. Why couldn't Boris open the door? Nadia said quietly out loud, and she quietly left the room. Nadia went to the door and listened. "Nadia, open it please, I forgot the keys," she heard Marina's voice. When she opened the door, Marina stood behind her. At the girl's throat was held a knife, which was held in his hands. Oleg, who looked at Nadia and smiled cheerfully. Hello, my favorite. Didn't expect? Nadia became scared. Her body trembled. Wanted to say something, but could not get a word out. Nadia, I'm coming for you. Let's get ready. It's time to go home. All this Oleg said, while not letting Marina from himself. Nowhere, I'm not going with you. After a long pause, she said, You now just do not realize what you're talking about. What do you mean you won't go? You're my wife, and you should be with me. With these words, he pressed the knife more angrily into Marina's throat, letting them both know that he was not kidding. I'm divorcing you. I've already filed for divorce. And that's what you reminded me of. Yeah, I got the summons, and I already know what you're up to. That's why I'm here. Did you think I wouldn't find you? Did you think I didn't know where you were? I knew everything about you. Only you were always guarded by that. We'll talk about your affairs later. At home. Only now Nadia realized that Boris was not at home, and it was unclear where he was. Her guess was terrible. What have you done with Boris? Oleg smirked. What? Scared for your lover? What have you done with him? Firmly repeated Nadia. Marina was also terrified, but could not even move. Oleg held her tightly. Beloved, you are not about what I am asking now. Better ask how I lived without you all this time. I'm not interested. All right, I heard you. Now come on, pack your things. You've been here too long. Don't piss me off, or your girlfriend will get hurt. And I wouldn't want that. Nadia froze, not knowing what to do. She turned away for just a second, and immediately felt her husband's strong hand grabbing her throat. I'm not going to say it twice. Let's go. Oleg held them both at the same time. Only now his gaze fell on Nadia's stomach. She had been in a wide nightie and robe. Now that he was holding her, the fabric had stretched and her belly was visible. Darling, this changes everything. Nadia realized what he was talking about. She saw Oleg looking at her belly. Now she was even more scared. What will he do to her when she... And it must be done, and immediately. Oleg, this changes everything. Let me go. The child is not yours. On Oleg, these words acted like a red rag on a bull. His eyes were bloodshot. You bitch. And Nadia flew back against the wall. Then the action began to develop rapidly. When Nadia regained consciousness, the doctor was already sitting beside her and was bringing her to her senses. Only the intense pain reminded her of what had happened here recently. Nadia turned her head. Not far from her were both Marina and Boris. She smiled weakly, but it made Boris feel better too. We're taking you to the hospital, replied the doctor, turning to Nadia. We need to examine you and do an ultrasound. And where? She did not understand where Oleg had gone. Boris approached Nadia and took her hand. I'll go with you and tell you everything. You, most importantly, do not be nervous. Already in the ambulance, Boris told Nadia what had happened at the moment when she was unconscious from a strong blow from her husband. The police burst into the house and Oleg was immediately rounded up. Before their eyes, Nadia flew back against the wall and Marina with a knife at her throat. So Oleg is going away for a long time, especially after his other merits, about which Nadia will not keep silent. Where did the police come from, and where have you been all this time? I thought he did something to you. He tried to eliminate me, but he failed. I don't understand you. In the morning, he called me from Marina's number and told me I had to come to a certain place, or I would regret it bitterly and I would never see my sister again. I first wanted to go to the place he called me to, but then I thought, then you'd be home alone, and that would be much more favorable to him than meeting me. So I just waited outside the house and saw him enter the house with Marina. That's when I called the police. My only fear was that I wouldn't make it in time, but they came quickly. To be honest, at first, I wanted to deal with him alone, but I was afraid I'd only make things worse. I'm sorry for letting him hit you. I'd kill him for that. Nadia took Boris's hand in hers. She looked at him fondly. You did the right thing, and most importantly in time. Otherwise, everything could have turned out differently. When Oleg heard that the baby was not his, he went crazy. And if you had been there, I don't know what he would have done. The hospital, after all the examinations, confirmed that Nadia and the baby are all right, but left her for now under the supervision of a doctor. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Then came Oleg's trial, the divorce, and the birth. Time flew by quickly, but Nadia's fear slowly began to recede. "What will you name your daughter?" Marina asked Nadezhda. Borgia suggested calling Nastya, and I like it, Nadia said with a happy smile. Borgia, Marina smiled slyly. Do you already decide on such questions together with him? You do not like it? I understand. The smile disappeared from Nadia's face. Fool, you're crazy. Marina laughed merrily. I will only be glad if you and your brother something will work out. Better wife than you cannot find him. I see how he looks at you. He's been looking at you for a long time. Maybe you haven't noticed, but I've been doing it since day one. A wife? Do you think he wants me to be his wife? You don't realize it, do you? Asterisk 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 asterisk. She soon became Boris's wife, and Nastya was naturally his daughter. It was as if it had been planned and started from the day Boris himself suggested that everyone should say that the child was his.